And ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Schmoes show. The only show that, quite frankly, when we take a break, everything has to fucking happen. So all you government workers, you're welcome for the government coming back. We took a break.
Yeah, that was our doing.
That's our doing.
You have to if you want to. We're not going to say you have to, but it would be nice if you gave us a cut of your paychecks, especially all you air traffic controllers that are getting bonuses.
Oh fuck, I forgot about that. I'll take about half the bonus. Kyrie, you want the other half?
Yeah, I guess so. That seems fair.
That seems fair. We also want to be listed as dependent under your benefits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Again, it's only fair.
It's only fair. How was your week, Kyril? Well, 2 weeks.
It has been so busy. I'm so tired. I was telling you today was the first day that I've been able to get up later than like 6:30. I've been working 10-hour days, give or take, because I've been having stuff on Fridays too. So traveling last week, having to do housework repairs this week. So it's been a lot. I'm ready for the holidays to come around here.
Same. For those of you with sharp ears, you might notice I'm a little croaky, as Cairo put it. I'm coming off a cold because I decided I should go to a fucking Grand Rapids Comic Con. I'm sick. That's like, there's no other way of putting it. I'm at fucking Hall's Cherry Lozenge right now. Hashtag not sponsored. Hashtag Halls, please. I don't know. What's your cough drop of choice, Cairo?
I tend to go see. I have the problem where like the menthol ones, the medicated ones, obviously work way better. So if I need that amount of cough help, like it gets that bad, I have to go for something with menthol. But if I'm not, I prefer to just have like the regular citrus ones, and I usually just get Meyer brand because I'm a good Midwestern boy.
Remember when Peter Meyer was in Congress? That was fucking weird.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We don't talk about that enough. What the fuck? We have a fucking Dayquil with like Vicks in it for cough syrup.
That sounds dangerous.
Yeah, have you ever had like the last shot of that in a bottle?
I haven't, but I can imagine.
Dude, it's so fucking strong. Like, I woke up this morning ready to die. I was feeling terrible. I didn't even think I was going to do the show today, but I bounced back. It was because that fucking Vicks nearly killed me. Like, my throat was like... I've never felt my throat, like, disintegrate at the touch of a liquid before. Whoever put fucking Vicks in Dayquil is a nightmarish ghoul. That being said, please, make sure to shake up the bottle. I've learned that.
Do you want to know a fun fact?
What?
I'll say I don't know. I guess do you have like name brand stuff?
Yeah, it's actual Dayquil.
Okay.
Yeah.
My company makes generic of that.
You're fucking
of the liquid.
Ghouls. Fucking hate you. You have no idea what I went through. It was like going through a fucking regeneration on Doctor Who. You can't tell. My voice is so weak right now. I'm screaming. This is my screaming voice. Oh my gosh. You know what I've learned recently? I can finally get behind something that the president did.
Oh yeah?
It's that fucking drip he wore after Madani.
Right? Oh man. Let me see if I can find... God, I don't even know how I would look it up. I don't even care that much. It was good.
It's our thumbnail. People can see it.
Oh, okay. Good. It was like, you don't have to give it to him, but you can't deny it at the same time.
Yeah, like, I'm so negative on the guy, well deserved, because be negative on all politicians, to be frank. But real
Mhm.
recognizes real, and he got that shit.
Absolutely.
That being said, did you watch any of that coverage about when Mondani was in the office?
I saw some of the coverage. I didn't see. I because yeah, just again busy. I didn't actually watch much of the clips or coverage of it, but I did read some of it for sure. It was very funny. The pictures, especially.
It was so funny that they were just like bros. I don't know what happened. Like,
Well, so that's the thing is that I mean that's just Mamdani. He
yeah.
is there. There's another good clip going around from him today, where he was doing an interview on like ABC, I think, and the host said something about he described New York as being like socially heterogeneous. You know, it has a bunch of different social groups all interacting and mingling together. And he used the word heterogeneous or something like that. And before Mamdani, like before he could finish the question, Mamdani was just like, "Hey, can you pause for a second? What does that mean?" And it was just so excellent. Just like, yeah, that's because that's like such a good skill, right?
Yeah.
Ask questions when you don't know things. And he did it in a great way. So it's like every single time he does anything, he does it effortlessly. And God, what was it? I saw people describing the way that he looked through most of it as like the face that you make when you are ready to leave a family gathering, but the family gathering has to keep going on for another hour.
That's funny.
But Trump was loving it. I thought that was hilarious.
I think I learned something about Donnie during that visit. I think, despite him, having all his little sycophantic monsters around him, I think he gets bored of it, like, occasionally. I think he just, like, every once in a while, he just wants a dude to chill out with.
I saw it really well put where as much as Trump and especially Trump's, handlers and goons and all that around him would like him to, Trump cannot turn off the like casting, TV casting part of his brain that he had to use for like 10 years for The Apprentice, right? Where he just sees a really charismatic, well-dressed, good-looking person and he's just like, yeah, this is the guy.
Yeah. I think that's
But
actually a good
it was
way to put it.
extremely funny. The imagery of it is absurd and hilarious on its own, but the the actual content of it was extremely damning for the Republican Party at large. In like an hour, Trump torpedoed basically all of the smear campaigns that they've been trying to run against Mamdani for months.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite. Go for it, please.
I was going to bring up the fascist comment.
Exactly the same as I was going to. Question: are you affirming that you think President Trump is a fascist? Mamdani, I've spoken about, and then Trump cuts him off and says, "That's okay. You can just say yes. I don't mind." It's great. There's another one where a reporter asked Trump if he felt any less safe living in New York with Mamdani as mayor, and I wish I had it pulled up. His response is basically just like, "No, of course not." It's just like blow for blow, just every single thing they're trying to do. Like, oh, it's going to be a 9/11 every week and you're not going to feel safe and there's going to be criminals on the streets. And Trump's just like, no, I'm fine. It's good.
I think we're being a little too nice to Donnie. I do want to bring up like a juxtaposition between that interview and the Quiet Piggy interview.
Absolutely.
I think Donnie just hates journalists in general at this point.
Oh, he absolutely does. I'll say the thing that I found most, like, obviously Trump's comment is abhorrent because they always fucking are. The thing that I have found just really strange about this whole thing is like, why is this the breaking point for all of these reporters? Why is this in particular where they're drawing the line when he's been doing this shit all year? This isn't new. We've been talking about this almost every other week where he'll have an almost always female reporter asking him a question, and rather than answer the question, he'll just be a bigoted asshole.
Yeah, I've kind of noticed that as well. Like, legitimately, like the
Yeah.
last few weeks, if it's a dude reporter, he always targets the network. Female reporter,
Yep.
he targets the woman.
I was just gonna bring that up. What was it? Uh, during the visit with the fucking Saudi crown prince, which I don't even think I have other links for that. But he was asked, Mr. President, why wait for Congress to release the Epstein files? Why not just do it now? And his response was, it's not the question that I mind, it's your attitude. I think the license should be taken away from ABC. We have a great commissioner who should look at that.
Yeah,
Like, but then on the other hand, you have the quiet piggy, you have the low IQ, especially if it's a black woman.
yeah.
It's fucking gross. I'm glad that people are starting to publicly call out the behavior, but they really are like months late to the party, at least.
Yeah.
And they still didn't call him out for it to his fucking face. They let it happen in the moment because they wanted to get their quotes for their publication. That's what needs to happen, is that somebody needs to be just like, hey, that's not okay. You can't just be an asshole like that and not. You shouldn't be able to be an asshole like that and not get called out for it, even if you're the fucking president.
It is like this weird thing where I don't know why people don't ask more of the goddamn president.
Yeah. Would we? Would I guess let's rewind. Let's
Yeah.
rewind.
A little
We got
too
to go back
recent.
2 weeks. We got to go
Yeah.
back 2 weeks. Uh, when we last were here, the government shutdown was still happening. The government was still shut down, and the government is not shut down. And it has been a roller coaster since. So I it's just a shame we couldn't do a show last week because I would have loved to have spent more time going through all of the shutdown stuff because there is quite a lot that is very frustrating in it. The short version, though, is that a group of, I want to say, 6 or 7, maybe 8 Democrats in the Senate uh, has effectively caved
Yeah.
in the negotiations, not even no negotiations, in the politics that were happening in the Senate over the shutdown. The shutdown was predicated on uh, like 3 or 4 major topics. The biggest of which, I guess, the biggest 2 of which are we had the snap stuff that was going on previously that is actually going to be kind of frustrating to have this be the resolution for because there were some ongoing court cases that would have answered some very necessary questions about what discretion, what kinds of discretion the executive branch actually has when Congress orders them to spend money for very specific purposes. Because this is like boilerplate language, and the government was trying to argue that no, we actually are the ones that get to decide whether or not these funds go out. And it sounded like the case was getting to the point where there's going to be an answer to that one way or the other. And it's possible that the answer to that would have been no, the executive branch does get to be the final authority on what is and is not an emergency and could decide that this wasn't an emergency. But with this being the result, we now have no answer. The case is going to end up being that, well, the funds are being dispersed anyways, so we can't really ascribe any damages in this because the thing that would be awarded potentially in the end is already happening.
Yeah.
And I expect it's just going to end up being dismissed as a result of that, which sucks. The other main part of it, though, that was the contention in this shutdown was the ending of certain subsidies for the Affordable Care Act. Right now, because these Democrats caved and signed a version of the continuing resolution for the budget that did not guarantee funding for those ACA subsidies, but rather instead only agreed to the Senate having a floor vote in December on those subsidies as a separate matter. They're basically dead, to be blunt. We already had Mike Johnson asked about it. Quote, will you assure House Democrats they'll get a vote on ACA subsidies by a certain date? Johnson, no, I'm not promising anyone anything. And that already belies the point where they've agreed in the Senate to have this come up for debate on the floor and probably a vote. Doesn't mean they're going to vote for it. Now they can just vote on this single issue for, subsidies. And the most charitable reading of these Democrats that caved is that they are trying to do this for optics, to force Senate Republicans to put their name on a ballot and say yes or no as to whether a significant group of Americans should have subsidies for their health care. And I will say personally, I am so fucking tired of politics like that. I don't want this kind of shit where the downside or the possible upside to this is just good publicity. Good publicity doesn't get people fucking health insurance. People are going to die as a result of that. And it feels like a lot of these people in Congress have forgotten that their actions have extremely real impact on their constituents.
I was going to make a very deeply cynical joke, but I'm already close to death already, and I don't feel like invoking God's wrath.
So, the shutdown ended in the Senate. They sent a bill over to the House, who very quickly signed it. All considered on other topics, though, this was, apart from the ACA issue, more or less a standard budget. There weren't a massive amount. Well, I guess there was one very particular item in the Senate's budget that slipped through that has since been nuked from orbit. A number of senators slipped into the budget a provision that would pay members of Congress $500,000 personally for every time they had to have their phone records subpoenaed as part of congressional investigations. I believe allegedly under the guise of some sort of reparations for having their privacy violated. When it came out that this was part of the budget, the backlash was immediate and swift, and credit to the House of Representatives where it is due, and we're going to be bizarrely saying that a couple of times this week. They voted, I believe, completely unanimously for the first time in like decades. Just 100% of people voted yes to strip that language from the final version of the bill. So, in particular, John Thune, Lindsey Graham, fuck you. That was a obviously scummy thing to do, and you get what you deserve.
Yeah, fuck you.
Mm-hmm. Now, that said, because the Senate passed their bill and moved it over to the House had to go back in session, fucking finally. And when the House did go into session, the representative-elect from Arizona, Adelita Grijalva, has now been sworn in.
Woo.
About damn time. That also means that the coalition in the House now has their 218th vote for the Epstein Files discharge petition. Basically the thing that forces a vote to come to the floor of the House when the Speaker won't do it on their own. And oh boy, has it been a hell of a time since then.
Seriously, it's like, okay, ever since you brought this up, ever since Cheney died, the air has been very different. And this is like one of those things where it is very clear we are in something else right now.
Yeah, and I do think that is, it's like like Harambe dying being the start of all of this, right? It is
Yeah.
a coincidence, but it is also a major event that happened to coincide with all this and is very memorable. And I expect we're going to be looking back on it in the coming years with the way things are going. But before the House could have a vote on the Epstein discharge petition, House Democrats released a series of emails from the Jeffrey Epstein files that they already had. And it has been an absolute field day since then. In response, because the Democrat releases had a number of people's names redacted, House Republicans, as part of the Oversight Committee, I believe, released a significantly larger cache of emails as well to the public. They were released in the form that the DOJ has them, which is to say is not easily searchable or readable. And it has taken a long time for people to just physically sort through these like thousands of emails to find what matters in them.
Yes.
People have been doing that though, and we have been getting some information that even apart from the House vote has been pretty damning. It's been headline making at the very least. So let's go through some of them.
Oh boy.
From the New York Times, House Democrats released emails in which Jeffrey Epstein alleged that Donald Trump knew of the convicted sex offender's conduct and, quote, spent hours at Epstein's house with a victim. What was the other one? Another one unrelated to Trump. We had, I guess, kind of confirmation. This was something that was always widely suspected, but it has been more or less confirmed that, so I guess to back up, Alan Dershowitz, widely implicated in the Epstein files. He was a lawyer for Epstein, so there's ties there already. Was at one point accused by people of having assaulted Virginia Giuffre when she was a teenager. Mm-hmm. In the aftermath of that, Giuffre came out and made a statement that that did not happen with her, at least. We now have an email from Alan Dershowitz talking about that situation. This is a quote from the emails. We should be aiming at a short, simple statement such as, the events at issue occurred approximately 15 years ago when I was a teenager. Although I believed then and continue to believe that Dershowitz was the person with whom I had sex, recent developments raise the possibility that this may be a case of mistaken identity. So
really?
It was coming from Dershowitz that should be the line used to make that announcement.
Jesus.
And whether or not what the actual truth is, we obviously don't know. But it's weird as hell that is not that it is part of these, but that happened in that way. The other one that was pretty widely circulated was a quote from Epstein to Ghislaine Maxwell. Quote, want you to realize that the dog that hasn't barked is Trump. Victim, name redacted, spent hours at my house with him, has never once been mentioned. And then last, but maybe least, we'll see. This is an exchange between Jeffrey Epstein and his brother Mark Epstein. How does the timeline on this go? So it starts there and works its way up. Mark to Jeff, how are you doing? A while back you mentioned you were pre-diabetic. Has anything changed with that? What is your boy Donald up to now? And Jeffrey replies, all good, Bannon with me. Mark replies, ask him if Putin has the photos of Trump blowing Bubba. Epstein replies, I thought I had... anyways. The photos of Trump blowing Bubba has blown up in itself as people try to figure out who the fuck is Bubba.
I mean, okay, but we talked about this a little bit.
We did.
We had 3 suspects. Mm-hmm. They're not terribly new suspects.
No. Although I guess one of them has been relatively exonerated.
Yeah. That one was Bill Clinton, who I thought was way too convenient of a choice.
Yes.
because everybody would love that to happen. There's no way it fucking happened.
No, no
Because
way.
apparently Clinton's nickname was Bubba. I've never heard him called that ever.
I have never heard
once.
that ever either.
Yeah. The internet will just do what it wants to get a joke, which, you know, fuck Donnie, fuck Bill Clinton. I don't mind that joke.
Yeah. It is funny.
Yeah. Part two, it was Maxwell's horse, which
Ghislaine Maxwell apparently owns a racehorse that is named Bubba. That's a hell of a coincidence, if nothing else.
yeah, I don't know if I believe it's the horse either, because I think out of all the shit we've seen Donnie with, I don't think we've seen him enough with Maxwell to establish that.
I don't know.
My
sure.
personal theory, it's Bubba the Love Sponge.
Yeah. I will say, while I think that one makes the most logistical sense,
Yeah.
there are some timeline elements on it that are kind of spotty.
You know, if you told me it's wrong, I'll totally believe you. But the idea of like Donnie blowing a guy called fucking Bubba the Love Sponge, it's very on brand. Yeah,
It is. Personally, I'm still on the Ghislaine Maxwell's horses team, mostly because I think that would be the funniest.
If Donnie was a horse fucker, I will never let anybody live that down.
No shot.
No shot.
None at all.
Yep.
With that, we get to the actual House votes. Grijalva was sworn into the House. Very shortly after, she signed the Epstein discharge petition, giving it the 218th vote that it needs in order to proceed to a vote on the floor. And very shortly around that time, we were also getting reporting of frantic calls from the DOJ and Trump's office personally, trying to reach out to Republican politicians such as Lauren Boebert and Nancy Mace, trying to get them to remove their signatures from the Epstein file discharge petition. As reported by the New York Times, Nancy Mace apparently didn't even pick up the phone, and Boebert had a meeting with them and did not plan on removing her name from the petition.
Yeah.
In the lead up to it as well, we started to get a trickling of news coming out from a variety of stations with interviews of other House Republicans, such as figures like Don Bacon, who is a Republican, I think from like Missouri, something like that, who said he would be voting yes on the Epstein files discharge petition. And at that point, it was pretty clear that the House of Cards was crumbling. And we kind of figured this when we talked about it last in October. We had this reporting coming out, which is, hey, what do you know? When the House shut down for the first time, when they stopped staying in session, where the rumors through Capitol Hill were that when this discharge petition actually came to a vote, it would be overwhelmingly voted on and proceed over to the Senate. And we started to get those rumors, those rumblings again here, and they were really intensified by just seemingly random Republicans going onto the news and being like, yep, I'm going to vote yes on the Epstein files petition. That was then confirmed a couple of days later when the House did rule to release the Epstein files by a vote, and by a vote of 427-1, they did vote to send it over to the Senate to release the Epstein files. The lone dissenter, Representative Clay Higgins of Louisiana, who is a real grade A piece of shit. About a month ago, he was sent out a tweet, like, as far as I can tell, basically unprompted, blaming SNAP recipients for not stockpiling more food. Quote, there are 22 million American households receiving SNAP benefits. Any American who has been receiving $4,200 per year of free groceries and does not have at least 1 month of grocery stock should never again receive SNAP because, wow, stop smoking crack. And this isn't even like a new thing for him. He's been doing this for years. He is, and will probably continue to be, a gigantic piece of shit.
Hey, he's Louisiana.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, apparently Wikipedia, I'm just finishing going through this this article here. Apparently, Wikipedia has updated, and maybe it's gone by now, but updated his career section. This is Higgins' career section on Wikipedia to note that he was the singular vote to not release the Epstein files. So that's very funny.
Yeah, I want that to be his legacy.
Yeah.
Imagine that being on his fucking gravestone.
It would be very good.
Wouldn't it?
So we had, what day was that? That was the afternoon of the 18th. We had House vote to send it over to the Senate. We had a really interesting interview come out in between where Mike Johnson was asked about it because it seemed like there would be more people who would vote no in the House. And he strongly alluded to the fact that many people in the House were not comfortable with the current way that the bill was written, but they were confident that it would get over to the Senate and would be amended to make the changes that needed to be made, more or less was how they talked about it, in order to fix the bill that they sent over that was, in his own words, kind of bad. A couple of hours after that, the Senate unanimously, so this is a little bit of a misnomer, the Senate by a unanimous motion approved the bill to force the release of the Epstein files. From what I understand, they didn't actually have a proper paper ballot vote. It was like a vote by acclamation. Like all the ayes, everybody says aye. All the nays, nobody says nay. So they just send it on and keep going with their business.
I love how terrified they are.
Yeah, well, and that's kind of the thing. It was just fascinating because it's clear that the political strategy here was that the House passes it as it is. They talk about these problems. It goes to the Senate. The Senate fixes these problems, effectively making the bill worthless in the process. That has to go back to the House, and then it's flipped onto the Democrats. You either have to vote to proceed with this bill and send it over to Trump to be signed, or you're the one voting no against the Epstein Transparency Act. That was very obviously the play, except that the Senate didn't do that. They unanimously voted to send it over to President Trump to sign, and yeah, it was not great. We got a good post-Senate vote reaction from Mike Johnson, where he was leaving the chambers of Congress for the day, and somebody caught him as he was walking out, where he is visibly shaking. He is just absolutely shitting himself in that moment because of his plan falling apart, and it was very funny to see.
Mike, I know you're listening because you're a biggest fan and whatnot. If you want to come air your grievances, come up to the show. We'll call you a piece of shit a couple times, but we're uncensored on here.
Be very glad to call you a piece of shit to your face.
Yeah, if you want, you can borrow my phone and look up porn on it, so that you can get a little stress wink in.
Yeah, your kid doesn't find out.
Yeah, dude. All we ask is that you just tell us. Actually, you just don't clear my history afterwards, because we're going to be very curious on what you look up.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. Remember, Mike, door's always open.
So, from there, next day, 19th, goes over to Trump. I admit, I was quite surprised it was signed so quickly. I fully expected that we would see, if not a full pocket veto or an outright veto, that Trump would stall on signing the bill that was presented. And that didn't really happen. Next day, by 8 o'clock, we had the answer. Trump signed the bill into law, and now it goes over to Pam Bondi to release all unclassified records related to Epstein within the next 30 days. And the unclassified part there gives you an idea of some of the criticisms that are being levied from the other side about the verbiage in this bill, where, in particular, because this is a bill going to the Attorney General, the Department of Justice, because they are the ones in control of these files, they are the ones who are effectively going to be the one making the determination of whether something is classified or not classified, and whether or not anything is involved in an active investigation, or if it would present a national security risk. a lot of this is very boilerplate kind of language in these bills, but given the very obvious, I don't call it biases, but like the just shit that happens that has been happening with this administration, this boilerplate language is giving concern for the kind of honesty that we're going to actually see as a result of this. And one of the bill's authors, Thomas Massey, I think his name is, had basically predicted that this would be the case, that because they have to include this kind of language in there in order to have the bill not just die the second it gets seen by a judge, that the Trump administration would direct some investigations into people that they don't like who have been implicated in these files and use that as the grounds to release basically nothing. And what do you know? Same day, we had news from Bondi that new information had been obtained by investigators that had prompted her to reverse her decision to close the Epstein case 4 months ago. Bondi and her top deputy, Todd Blanche, would not say what that information was. So if you remember back to, what was that, June? Back in May, we had the media circuit with Bongino and Cash, where they were like, actually, no, Epstein did kill himself and there's nothing in the files. And then we had Bondi come out and say the same thing, and the case was officially closed. Nothing to see here. What a coincidence. There is something to see here now, just in time to have an active investigation that might require certain files to not be allowed to be released to the public.
So,
yay.
I know you're shitting on them right now, but I want to shit on someone else real quick.
Please, go for it.
Why was it this hard, easy for the Trump administration to do it when the Biden administration had like a whole 4 years to get on that shit?
So, from what I understand, there was an actual court case that was ongoing related to the victims of Epstein that was preventing the release of particular files.
Never mind.
And that case is now at the stage where it is either not open, or because the Trump administration had said that they were going to, in spite of that, release them anyways, that we're now at where we are. But I do believe that there was some relatively legitimate reason why it didn't happen under Biden.
That's fine. My whole criticism of the Biden administration is how adherent they were to the status quo. So here I thought I could catch them in a gotcha on that. But if they had a legitimate reason, I'll fucking prod.
Yeah. I genuinely wouldn't be surprised either if they were trying to slow roll it.
Yeah.
Because, you know, even if Biden himself isn't implicated, I wouldn't be surprised if there were people in positions of power in his administration who are at least close to people who are. And yeah. Complete coincidence. I watched Clear and Present Danger, the Tom Clancy, the novel based on the Tom Clancy book, last night, and there is a scene at the end of it that is, the whole movie is so great. From like if you enjoy, I say enjoy, that's not quite the right way to describe it, I guess, but you know, for lack of a better word, if you enjoy politics, those kinds of movies are so great. And it ends the movie after you have this extra legal action happening in a foreign country, and the main character hero guy uncovers it all and saves the troops who were abandoned in Colombia or whatever the hell it was. Gets back into the White House and is about to be debriefed or whatever by the president, and he basically says, I'm going to take this to the press. And the president says, no, you're not. You're going to keep it as a feather in your cap for a rainy day, and then you'll be able to pull it back out later when you need help. And then he's just like, no, I'm not. I'm going to go to Congress. And then the movie, which is kind of, not my favorite part of it, but I do love it, where we have an action adventure movie that ends with the start of a Senate panel. It's just such politics from a different time. Maybe a time that didn't even exist.
Maybe it did exist at one point.
Yeah. I'd like to think it did.
Yeah. I think as guys who never been allowed to vote in a presidential election without Donald Trump in it, I think we don't get to have that opinion.
Man, that's a hell of a You're not wrong, but I hadn't thought of it like that.
Isn't that fucked up? You and I
Yeah, that's really
never
fucked
had
up.
an election without Donnie for president.
Is that right?
Yeah.
What, 2012? Oh god, that is right. Missed it like by a year. No, it was more than a year. It was a
More
little more
than
than
a
that.
year.
Yeah. Wow. Huh. No, I hadn't thought about it from that perspective, and boy, does it make sense.
I do think like we have like script like I mean this like for our generation in general, we have
Yep.
such a fuck ass idea of how politics work just because this
Yeah.
is all we've ever known. Like the closest
I
thing
don't know.
I think
Yeah, I have been
beforehand.
glad to see some pushback in recent coverage of the idea that politics before was somehow some, sunshine and rainbows and whatever. Especially, you really have to go back to like, I have to think about it now. Arguably Great New Deal territory
Yeah.
to get good politics. Pretty much everything after that has been very obviously stained in one way or another once you really start to dig into what happened and why. And even arguably then, Great New Deal stuff only happened because people in positions of power were failing to do the jobs that was expected of them, and they had to make the Great New Deal come about as the alternative to that.
I think of politics as a system of using ideas to get desirable results. And when you get stuff like the Great New Deal, it only happens because it's the only way to progress the game.
Right. When one side says they're not going to play, you have to change the game on them.
Yeah. That being said, I don't think like politics were necessarily better because we still had Cheney and Kissinger in the world before Donnie.
Yes. Yeah, and you can go back and pick out some real bastards for, better part of the
Andrew
last 100 years
Jackson.
at least. Exactly.
I just say that it's been much more in your face about it, and that's why we have
Yes.
such a fucked up idea.
Yeah, the decorum of politics has definitely changed.
I like to think politics is more pop culture at this point. I mean, look at
It
the
certainly
goddamn
feels like it.
president. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Last piece on the whole Epstein files shutdown, whatever thing that I found really funny. You sent this over to me. Apparently, Nick Fuentes, piece of shit he is, just tweeted out "MAGA is dead" at one point. That's very funny.
Honestly, like the moment that was sent, I was just kind of like, "Oh, we're in the fucking end game now."
Yeah.
Like it's not dead yet, but it's on life support real fucking bad now. Listen, Donald Trump showed up in a fucking like turtleneck. It's over.
Yeah. Yeah, it's done.
It's done.
I do wonder if you could make an index of that. Like at the point that Trump stops wearing suits, where does politics go at that point?
That's a good point.
Yeah.
What we need now is
Yeah.
no, go on.
No, I was going to change topic.
Oh, change topic. I was just going to riff on the idea of Donnie.
Okay. So I was going to put sort of a cap on this by talking about the saga that Marjorie Taylor Greene went through during all of this.
What a way to go out, please.
Right. Green has been in what very minuscule credit she deserves, which is basically nothing. She was one of the early Republican signers onto the Epstein Files discharge petition, and she has remained steadfast in her wanting to do that. There is some very reasonable debate to be had on this still. I am of the opinion that she is very much a Republican, MAGA, Pizzagate true believer to this day, and that her recent change of tune has been one that is both a mix of self-preservation, but also one of a genuine realization that she has been played, that she is not the grifter, but the person who has been grifted, and that she is getting out of the game because of that. came to a head on the 14th, a little over a week ago, where Trump very publicly announced his withdrawal of support for Green and went on to do his usual stuff, mostly boosting his own ego in a really sad and pathetic way. But very much marked the absolute turning point where Marjorie Taylor Greene, who has been a in the cloth MAGA loyalist for over a decade now, from with Trump since day one, being so publicly just complained about, I guess maybe is the way to put it, because it's not even like there's not an argument happening here. It's just beef and pettiness, but it's being directed at her publicly by Trump. Yeah. And it really, from there, she put out her own statement. I'm not going to go through all of either of these, but she opened it up pretty effectively. President Trump just attacked me and lied about me. I haven't called him all day, but I did send these text messages today. Apparently, this is what sent him over the edge, the Epstein files. So I don't think that's wrong. She was one of the Republicans who was contacted by Trump and the DOJ trying to get them to change their vote on the discharge petition, who refused to do it. In the aftermath of this, though, it has been very funny because we've been getting all of these obviously bullshit stories this year about the violent left, particularly in the wake of Charlie Kirk's assassination. And not a week after Trump, I think I heard it was the Trump dumps Marjorie Taylor Greene. Not a week after that, she put out a statement on Twitter. How long was it? It was literally 2 days. 2 days of not being, part of the inner circle of the Republicans. Quote, "The hoax pizza deliveries have started now to my house and my family members. Update. We also received a pipe bomb threat on my construction company's office building. President Trump's unwanted and vicious attacks against me were a dog whistle to dangerous radicals that could lead to serious attacks on me and my family." And it goes on from there. But people were already talking at that point how funny it was that she went 2 terms in Congress having to deal with the violent left and never having to deal with pizza hoax deliveries or pipe bomb threats or threats against the lives of her and her family. And then days after that, she announced that she'll be resigning from Congress effective January 5th, 2026. Couldn't even make it 2 weeks dealing with the actual violence in politics.
Yeah, fuck you.
Mm-hmm. And especially fuck her, because she is going to be resigning. I'm curious if this is a Monday or a Friday. I guarantee you it's one of them. It is a Monday. It's the first Monday of the new year. Go figure. Which I'm sure she would use that as her excuse. But she is resigning from Congress on January 5th. Coincidentally, from her, that's 2 days after she secures her pension from the government. That'll keep her nice and paid for basically the rest of her life.
Generational wealth, mind you.
To more of a point on generational wealth, I was seeing that because of the apparently legal insider trading that Congress is allowed to do, she's been able to accrue almost $25 million in her time these last 8 to 10 years. Can't remember exactly what it is. If all of that was to be put into just a regular ass indexed fund and a trust, she would be seeing dividends of $750,000 every year.
Can we just also just you said this earlier.
Yep.
Same fact. Index funds are kind of based though.
Oh yeah, they're really effective.
Not financial advice, but seriously, put your money in an index fund. Fuck stocks, fuck crypto, fuck everything else.
Yeah, fuck crypto.
Yeah.
Fuck gold too. That's just gold crypto for boomers.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So yeah, I think that kind of hits all the beats. It's been a wild week. We still don't have, the actual, quote unquote, actual Epstein files released yet, but it feels a bit telling that just of the stuff that has been released so far has already started to see like genuine impact on these people who are implicated in this. Larry Summers, who was a board member of OpenAI and a professor, I guess, like very loosely a professor at Harvard or something like that, because he's a lawyer, has both resigned from his position on the board and was initially said to be doing like reduced responsibilities at Harvard. But after criticisms for even that, he has resigned from his position teaching there entirely. So we talked about this as well. But as much as it will inevitably suck to see the files probably butchered or redacted or just not released in a way that uh, demonstrably proves what everyone knows about the current president, there are other people in these files that are also pieces of shit at best and pedophiles at worst who should likely will and need to be publicized because they have skated through this as well by the cover being run for other very powerful people.
Yeah, I agree. Uh,
Yeah.
I am okay with. I think overall, it doesn't matter how butchered they are. It's still a net good to have these things out there.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Absolutely.
Especially when you get the. I think there's like a mystique that's behind human trafficking and whatnot, and I think having these files out there is going to tear away a lot of that mystique, and
Yeah.
it's going to do a lot more good in preventing this shit in the future.
I do think that it was kind of ironic a little bit, I guess, in the timing that it happened, but we got more information. I don't remember if it was this week or last week on the specific case that stopped Matt Gaetz from becoming the attorney general back at the start of Trump's term. If you remember, this time last year, Matt Gaetz was originally the first person put forward to run as the attorney general for the White House, and he was unable to get through a Senate congressional hearing to be voted in favor for that position because of the implications that he was involved with a sex trafficking thing in Florida, and in particular, allegations that he, as part of that, had sex with a minor. This week, we got some, or this week, last week, whichever it was, we got some pretty fucking gross details as to what actually happened there. The information that the senators had that was not public at that point because the victim at the time was a minor. They're no longer a minor, and the story of it is being pretty widely reported now, where one of the people who he had engaged in this sexual trafficking with was a basically homeless girl, 17 years old at the time, who was bouncing around between multiple part-time jobs and was put into these positions of sexual trafficking for money themselves because they needed a dental operation that they could not afford. Like literally, they needed braces so that their teeth didn't get more fucked, and they couldn't afford it. So they ended up going into these trafficking operations for money in order to be able to pay for it.
I
It's
mean, it
it's
has
gross.
pure Americana, am I right?
Yeah,
Fuck.
yeah, right. It is to a degree, but I think it also helps to underscore how I don't have the right word right now, but how these trafficking situations can find these people and exploit them so easily.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
It's
imagine if the person who was the trafficker in that case wasn't who fucking cares Matt Gaetz, but a president of the United States, or what is it, like third, fourth in line to the throne, whatever the fuck the prince is, the former prince, I guess now is.
oh yeah, we never talked about that fucker. Uh,
Yeah.
Good on the UK for dissolving
Yeah.
Andrew. Yeah.
It's mostly ceremonial. It's not like he's not still disgustingly wealthy and basically never has to worry about any of this shit ever.
It, yeah.
But I guess it is technically the bare minimum of something that they could do.
It's a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's more than we're doing.
Yeah. So, believe it or not, other news did happen.
Things happen.
I know, right? I thought nothing ever happened. U.S. District Judge Sarah Elise has been working through a number of cases in the Chicago area as it relates to ICE, CBP, DHS's activities there. Through this case, we had a hell of a ruling released, 233 pages, in which we got some great sound bites from the judge. Where was it? So, legal analysts sorted through it, blah, blah, blah. Citations of, quote, widespread misrepresentations that call into question everything, and they say they are doing, everything they, that is a bad one. After reviewing all the evidence submitted to the court and listening to the testimony elicited at the preliminary injunction hearing, during depositions, and other court proceedings, the court finds defendants' evidence simply not credible. And to be clear here, the evidence that the defense is trying to present is testimony from ICE officers. This is that ICE officers themselves have become inherently so not credible that this court was unable to allow their testimony to be presented as evidence. And they go on in this to show a number of different examples of just how blatantly and egregiously ICE officials are lying about what they are doing in order to either cover their own asses or to force the outcome that they want from these interactions that they're having. A notable one that happened about a month ago was one of these women in Chicago. ICE claimed she rammed into their truck and opened fire on them, which required them to ram her vehicle back and then shoot her 5 times, leaving her in an extremely poor condition, obviously because she was shot 5 times. As a result of this case, we now know that she did neither of those things. ICE rammed her vehicle first. She did not engage them in any way, and she did not fire at them at all. She did have a concealed weapon on her person. It was never unholstered, and ICE was the only one who ever fired a round. And it goes on with about a half a dozen, from what I was reading before, other high-profile cases of ICE going to the media after an incident happens, lying about what happened, and then now we see the truth of what happened. And in every single one, they lied about what happened in order to cover their own asses. Not surprising, but it is it's good to have it recorded, right? It's good to have this stuff archived, have a record of it. And hopefully, because they did lie under oath multiple times, there's a chance that we might see some sorts of consequences from this in some way. But, you know, it's a federal court. So if they get charged with perjury, they just get pardoned, probably, right?
I was actually about to say, I think it's terrifying. These are federal agents working the court system.
Yeah. And it's good that, you know, for the people, it's good that they're before a judge who is calling them out on this shit. But as we'll get to in another couple of stories here, there are other judges who would happily go along with ICE's lies. Yeah. And guarantee that is already happening. They're not just doing this in Chicago. They're trying to do this nationally. And yeah, it's bad.
It's bad.
Would you like some good-ish news, though? Because I actually have some. Mostly funny news.
What's that?
During a hearing in federal court in Virginia, prosecutors confirmed that the operative indictment in the case against James Comey was never shown to or voted on by the entire grand jury before it was presented in open court. Defense has argued this is a complete bar to any further prosecution. Basically, Lindsay Halligan, the crack prosecutor for Southern District of New Jersey, I want to say, something like that, went to this grand jury the day before the statute of limitations on these alleged Comey crimes was set to expire. During this grand jury indictment, The grand jury returned a no bill on one of the charges, but did say yes on two of them. So 2 out of 3. That's what was the basis for proceeding to court was. Halligan then altered the grand jury document to remove that first charge, leaving only the 2 yes bills, and then submitted that to the courts. Basically, tampering with the record in order to file this in court before the deadline. The proper procedure would have been to have, a second document drafted and then voted on by the grand jury, confirming that only the 2 particular charges were the ones being considered, and then submit that document to the court. And this is now blown up in a pretty spectacular way, where Halligan was being called out on this in, the active session, while they all tried to figure out what the hell happened. And it certainly seems like Halligan was just, or her office was just so incompetent in putting these documentations together that they just made up a fake federal document and submitted it as if it was the real one.
Go them.
Mm. The case against Comey was already extremely flimsy. It's Comey who actually cares. But it is very funny seeing this DOJ continue to just prove once again how bad they are at all of their jobs. Second to last story here. A federal appeals court in Texas has blocked the state of Texas from using their new U.S. House map in the 2026 midterms. It's kind of big. Supreme Court has since stepped in and issued a temporary injunction, I believe, while they wait to hear this case because it's been appealed to them, of course. But this federal appeals court effectively ruled, here we go, quote, "To be sure, politics played a role in drawing the 2025 map, but it was much more than just politics. Substantial evidence shows that Texas racially gerrymandered the 2025 map." Pretty blunt. It was a 2-1 ruling with the dissenting judge. Basically, this is what I was meaning by saying that there's these judges who are in positions of power who are very happy to just, go against the law. He effectively called out the politics of this and how bad this is for the politics for Texas, rather than actually ruling on the merits of the case. It is pretty galling, pretty brazen, and just kind of gross in general. So, yep. It will be going to the Supreme Court. We will see if a ruling is issued in time, but it is pretty hilarious that we had the sort of rebuttal vote from California to redistrict their state and fighting against the Texas maps. And there's a not insubstantial chance now that Texas might just have their maps thrown out altogether. So if that happens, all to play for in 2026.
I am so ready for next year.
It's going to be a doozy. Last, but certainly not least, I wanted to do a quick follow-up on the tariffs case before the Supreme Court right now. We talked about this. Yeah, I know. They've been in a bit of a recess, I think, is what's happening right now, and they'll probably have a ruling, I would hope, before the end of the year. It'll be like December or January, something like that, is when they tend to have them sent out in batches. But we talked about how there was the tariff dividend of $2,000 that was going to be going to each American citizen. That won't be happening, to be extremely blunt. We know that that's not going to be happening at all, mostly because even if something like that was to happen, the money is going to be going to the companies that paid for the tariffs, not the people who had the buck passed on to them. The other part of it, though, that came out this week, that is kind of the update to this, is that apparently, according to inside information, the White House is allegedly facing a $760 billion tariff refund crisis, depending on how the Supreme Court rules. And It remains to be seen how that ruling is going to go, but there was other reporting that came out where did I go? There we go. Where the White House is already preparing backup tariff plans, according to anonymous sources within the White House. So it seems like the White House is ready to have this ruling come down against them. Yeah. With that, some movies. I have quite a lot.
What's your first one?
Did we talk about the Predator movie and Nuremberg last time? I think we did.
Yeah, we did.
But I couldn't remember. Okay.
Yeah.
So we can skip those. First one, The Running Man.
I heard that was pretty all right.
Yeah, it seems like it's probably a fine, just sort of like A- tier action movie. In a near future society, The Running Man is the top rated show on television, a deadly competition where contestants known as runners must survive 30 days while being hunted by professional assassins, with every move broadcast to a bloodthirsty public and each day bringing a greater cash reward. Desperate to save his sick daughter, working class Ben Richards is convinced by the show's charming but ruthless producer to enter the game as a last resort. But Ben's defiance, instincts, and grit turn him into an unexpected fan favorite and a threat to the entire system. As ratings skyrocket, so does the danger, and Ben must outwit not just the hunters, but a nation addicted to watching him fall. I like the idea. It's a fun, modern twist on the sort of classic, most dangerous game concept.
Wasn't this based off like fucking Stephen King?
I could see that.
Yeah.
Like, what hasn't Stephen King written at this point?
The Lord of the Rings.
Give him time. We'll get there.
Okay. I expect your Hobbit story by next week, Mr. King. Return of the King, you could say.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Would be very funny if somebody who had the last name King wrote a book just called Return of the, and then just had their name next to it. Ooh. So it spelled Return of the King, and then they sold that book. And it was a bad book, but they sold it as a fake Lord of the Rings book. Anyways, we also had Now You See Me, Now You Don't. This is the third, fourth movie in this Now You See Me series. I feel like the fact that they've said the whole thing, they said the whole, magic catchphrase thing. It really shows how out of ideas they are, I feel like, at a very high level. The movie, though, seems fine. The Four Horsemen return along with a new generation of illusionists performing mind-melding twists, turns, surprises, and magic, unlike anything ever captured on film. That's the thing, though, right? Like, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong on this. I assume they're not actually doing stunts for this. It's just like CG and stunt performers and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Like, it's a movie. It's not literally captured on film. This isn't a documentary, guys. It's an action, comedy, crime, drama, mystery, and thriller.
What is it not?
A documentary, apparently. That's kind of the only thing. Currently sitting at a 62% from critics, 81% from audiences. It's fine. I want to take a quick detour to go through some, we'll call them B movies. Some of the lower tier options on the Rotten Tomatoes page that I thought were kind of funny.
Lesser offerings.
Yeah, sure. Why not? Okay. Two of these, are on here just because they have one or two pictures and a funny title. So the first of those is just called Time Travel is Dangerous. Real life best friends run a vintage bric-a-brac shop in London. Stumbling across a time machine, they embark on trips to the past to stock their emporium with quirky artifacts with no idea of the damage they're causing. After one exchange too many, an interdimensional fissure appears and Ruth must free Megan from the Unreason, a monstrous netherworld where a convoluted game is played for all eternity. It is very funny that you have like the core conceit of this movie is that they run an antique shop and they find out that time travel is real and they have a time travel machine and they just use it to find things to put in their antique shop.
It's capitalist Doctor Who.
It'd be like finding out that you're Superman and then you use that to go rob small banks. And that's it.
That would actually be pretty funny.
It's very quaint. Our second funny title movie, I have a picture of the poster for this one, and only a picture of the poster for this one that I'm going to send you in a second once I finish the plot synopsis. Survival in space, the journey of a husband and wife who are pushed to extreme measures to gain a better life. The couple embarks on a wild and unpredictable journey where they are mysteriously transported to another galaxy amid a civil war that challenges the very fabric of their existence. And then I'm going to send you this poster, and I'm going to tell you that it looks like something that you would get made by standing in front of a green screen at a museum during a science fiction exhibit.
You know, you're right, but I was thinking of like an arcade.
True. Also true.
That
Anyways,
is wild.
It's rough. It's only an hour and 9 minutes. You know, they aren't trying to be anything more than what they are, and I respect what they're trying to do here.
My coworker let me come over for dinner, and this is on his fridge of his kids.
Oh yeah, big school play vibes.
The mom wanted a souvenir kind of look. Jesus.
Rounding out the B movie roundup, we have a pair of Christmas movies because of course we need our non-denominational. Well, one of these is quite denominational, but we got to get the B tier, the Hallmark train running. I have two for us this week. Our first, Snow Falling on Pumpkins. When Michael is diagnosed with early onset Alzheimer's at 43, his world begins to unravel. In his search for meaning, he's guided by a Cherokee spiritual mentor and the unwavering love of James, the man who becomes his husband. As memories slip away, Michael discovers that love is the one thing time cannot erase. Again, notable, this is another one that has literally only the poster included in its images and no videos. So I cannot tell you what this movie looks like.
I don't want to know what this movie looks like.
Yeah. Is it? I was reading this though, and I was trying to remember it. There's a actually good movie that is basically literally exactly this plot. That is like early onset Alzheimer's, trying to find cures, none of them work, and that's like the sad ending is that none of them works, and the Alzheimer's still happens. I can't remember the name of it though, but I know I've seen it. Last, probably not least, we have the first explicitly Christmas movie of the year, Christmas Karma. A modern Bollywood-inspired musical spin on Dickens' A Christmas Carol set in vibrant multicultural London. A hard-nosed businessman, Mr. Sood, is forced to confront his past, present, and future over one fateful Christmas Eve, guided by three unforgettable spirits on a journey toward compassion and redemption. Do you want to take a guess who the spirits are? Who the ghosts of Christmas are?
Are they famous?
I for sure know two of them, and I'm sure if I look at who this third one is, I will recognize what their name is. Keeping in mind that it is a musical.
Hugh Jackman.
No. These are, I would say musicians. Well, I don't know. Maybe. I guess they're credited as actors. Ghost of Christmas Past. Okay, yeah. I'm curious. I don't think you're not gonna get even close. Ghost of Christmas Past, Eva Longoria.
Odd, but okay.
Ghost of Christmas Present, Billy Porter.
Odd, but okay.
Ghost of Christmas Future, Boy George.
Yo, okay, you got me there.
It's decisions were made here. We can definitely say that much.
You know, the Boy George one, inspirational. I don't give a fuck.
Let me see if this has any pictures. I'd love to see. Yeah, that's okay. This one has. Oh no, sorry. This one has 2 pictures featuring on the front this absolute banger. So yeah.
Hell yeah.
Oh, it's from the director of Bend It Like Beckham. Crazy. What do you know? All right, 2 more movies. Sisu: Road to Revenge. Talked about this one a while ago on the show. I had seen it multiple times since. Really enjoyed the first one. This is the sequel to the first Sisu movie. Wall to wall, blah, blah, blah. Returning to the house where his family was brutally murdered during the war, the man who refuses to die dismantles it, loads it on a truck, and is determined to rebuild it somewhere safe in their honor. When the Red Army commander who killed his family comes back hell-bent on finishing the job, a relentless, eye-popping cross-country chase ensues, a fight to the death full of clever, unbelievable action set pieces. So, yeah. Looking forward to this. It's doing quite well. 96% from critics, 88% from audiences. I highly recommend the first one. It is quite graphic, but it is just absurdly fun to watch in a not funny way. It's just fun. So, looking forward to that. And finally, Wicked for Good. The sequel to the smash hit Wicked from, was that last year? Was that really last year?
It was last year.
Where the hell is... Oh, it's way down there. Oh god, this is long. Elphaba, now demonized as the Wicked Witch of the Rest, lives in exile, hidden within the Ozian forest, while continuing her fight for the freedom of Oz's silenced animals, and desperately trying to expose the truth she knows about the wizard. Glinda, meanwhile, has become the glamorous symbol of goodness for all of Oz, living at the palace in Emerald City and reveling in the perks of fame and popularity. I'm skimming here. She attempts to broker a consolation between Elphaba and the wizard, but those efforts fail, driving Elphaba and Glinda only further apart. The aftershocks will transform Bach and Fiero forever and threaten the safety of Elphaba's sister, Nessa Rose, when a girl from Kansas comes crashing into all of their lives. As an angry mob rises against the Wicked Witch, Glinda and Elphaba will need to come together one final time. With their singular friendship now the fulcrum of their futures, they will need to truly see each other with honesty and empathy if they are to change themselves and all of Oz for good. And I heard someone's seen this and kind of agrees, I would say, with the 70% critic score on Rotten Tomatoes.
That 70% is too generous.
Too generous. Oof.
Yeah, I would give it like, if I was scoring this like out of 10. This is like a 6.
That's tough.
It's really fucking frustrating because it is competently made. Everybody is giving it their fucking all, but my god, the writing is just that bad.
Yeah.
Can I just, this isn't Wicked for Good. This is Wicked Disappointment. There's only one good song in this movie, and it's sung by the worst singer.
Which is?
Jeff Goldblum.
I didn't know he had a song.
Yeah, he starts singing. I'm like, oh no. There's a reason why this man plays jazz piano.
Yeah, that's tough. That's really tough.
Overall, it reads like shitty Wizard of Oz fan fiction in this movie. I hear like everybody has problems with fucking Act 2 of Wicked, and I understand why.
Yeah. I mean, I was just gonna say that is basically what Wicked is conceptually, so that does make sense.
But Wicked 1 was like so fucking good. Like it
was quite good.
It was like being stabbed in the back. Like, okay,
but it wasn't for good.
The movie literally begins with like Elphaba fucking up some yellow brick road workers, like a la Marvel.
Yeah.
And like the moment I saw her doing like that fucking superhero landing, I'm like, oh no,
Mm.
no.
I will say, I'm skimming through the critic reviews here. I've never seen a collection of critic reviews on Rotten Tomatoes for a movie that is, broadly positive, 70% positive, that has so many positive reviews with so many caveats on them.
Seriously though.
Uh, I'd like to read through some of them because I think it does paint a really good picture. I enjoy this first one. The first positive take that shows up on the Rotten Tomatoes page is just there are some neat narrative twists.
There's no narrative twist.
Yeah.
You can literally, like I said, they start the movie with building the yellow brick road, and if you have like a monicum of understanding about how narrative works, you can call the whole fucking movie from there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Darker, gloomier, frustratingly less dazzling.
Yeah. Okay, I'll give that. The first movie had like a glamour to it. This movie is butt ugly. It's fucking okay. They try to do this thing where it's like sunset throughout the movie, where every last shots are like during twilight, and then goes to night for like the second half.
Mm.
Conceptually kind of cool. Looks fucking butt ugly when you have like all this green and fucking pink all over the place.
Mm. Also seeing unbalanced pacing, doesn't have the power and momentum of its predecessor.
One good song, and it's sung by Jeff Goldblum. How do you get back from Defying Gravity? You don't.
Right. Fall short of the last movie, but is still entertaining. Not all bad, but I was expecting great and got something that is simply all right.
Yeah. That's actually a great way to it. Like, I don't know, man. Like, everybody's trying their hardest to make this work. It is not there. It is not the guy. Props to Cynthia Erivo. Genuinely very good. She's like the highlight of the movie for me. Ariana Grande probably did a little bit better in this movie than she did in the original, but it's just not that great source material.
Yep.
I will say. The one thing that stuck with me a lot in this movie, there's like actually two things, was the out of nowhere kinky witch sex that happens partway through the film. That poor damn Cardigan. And two, there was a guy that belched in my theater like 3 times. Like, honest to God, full out burp. Like, he just had a nice big
very funny.
Soda. And one of the times it was like during a very plot critical moment. Like, it's like a I love you too, belch. It took me right out of it. It was so fucking funny.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Other than that, if you are like, I think if you're curious and you like Wicked, fine, you can definitely get something out of this. But like, this is a movie that cannot stand on its own. It is a movie that doesn't want to stand on its own. It's barely a movie.
I do think it'll be interesting to see how it lines up when you're able to watch it as like a block, as like a 5-hour thing rather than part 1, part 2. It is certainly an interesting decision to do a 2-parter, right? Because just narratively, the 3-act structure is really effective, and when you're able to do a 3-act structure 3 times, that's also very easy and effective. And trying to do that as 2 movies is kind of tricky. And I can really imagine one where Defying Gravity is like the midpoint of the middle movie, and that gets you excited for the 3rd one. You know, have them all be like an hour and a half instead of 2 hours and 15 or whatever it is. Cut it up differently. Yeah, it's unfortunate. It's definitely unfortunate.
I will say, I felt like this movie was trying to Oscar bait. I'll be surprised if it gets nominations.
I'm sure it is. Yeah.
I
would be. Well, I don't know. It'll definitely get whatever the hell it wants in musical categories because it's kind of a little bit of a one horse show, you know?
Yeah, yeah. I guess I should preference. It ain't winning any Oscars when you have something
Sure,
like fucking
that's fair.
K-pop Demon Hunters coming out this year.
Yes, absolutely.
Fucking people get crunk to the K-pop Demon Hunters. I say it is just all right.
Yeah.
It is a good. I'll say it. I fucking like K-pop Demon Hunters better than I like Wicked for Good.
Hmm. I think
Which is
that's fair.
heresy. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. Yes, it is. But, you know,
Yes.
that is what I have.
That's fair.
Anything else you want to go through?
I want to die. My fucking throat hurts. My voice hurts. Everything hurts.
I guess I'm going to put you on the spot right here because there's one thing that I do think is worth talking about if we're not going to be having a show next Sunday.
Yo.
I think no show.
No show. I don't think we. It's holiday weekend. You know, we've got things. I'm a child divorce.
Fair
you know
enough.
how many fucking Thanksgivings I have to go to this year?
I technically have surgery on the 1st of the month, so
You prep for your fucking surgery, mister.
Yeah.
I don't
I
give
don't know.
a fuck about
I want to talk about movie. Anyways, Knives Out, Wake Up Dead Man
Oh,
is
shit.
coming out on the 26th. I don't have tickets for it yet. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get tickets for it, but I know you do, and I am
Yes.
going to be trying damn hard. So I mostly just wanted to mention that that is upcoming, and it's pretty exciting. So
I'm so excited. It's like that and Frankenstein have been the movies I've been waiting all goddamn year for. Oh, I got so pissed. When I first got my tickets for Wake Up Dead Man, I got it for Sam's brother and I, because obviously he's my future brother-in-law and he likes the movies, so I figured it's a cool bonding moment for us, right? When I was signing up for them, it was only going to be in theaters for a weekend at our local chain up here in Celebration. And it was only going to be at the flagship one up north, which is like 13 miles away from here.
Mhm.
So I had to like formulate this whole fucking day with my future brother-in-law to, make the most out of it on Black Friday. No. Apparently, it did so fucking well with ticket sales, they expanded it to 4 more theaters, including the one that's right down the fucking street from me, and then gave it like a whole bunch of extra movie slots, including a midnight premiere on Thanksgiving itself at my local theater.
hell yeah.
I'm so pissed. I have tickets to go see like the original time slot. I'm debating selling my tickets for it, but at the same time, I've made too many fucking plans with my future brother-in-law to just throw them out the goddamn window. Fucking hell. I hate you, Ryan Johnson. This movie better be fucking perfect.
I am mixed bag here. I was looking at the local celebration for me, and thankfully there's plenty of seats available for it, which is good. So I don't have to like rush out and get any at this point. But it's a bit of a bummer that there's plenty of seats still open for it.
Yeah, I get that. I can't really complain too. I get to complain because I know mine's gonna be fucking packed. I hate it.
I believe that.
Yeah.
They are doing. I guess technically it opens on Wednesday.
Yeah, that's the midnight release
So-
apparently. Yeah.
There no. Mine has an not quite midnight, but a Tuesday release.
Shit. Okay.
I might see that.
Go do that. I'm jealous.
Because that
Do it for me.
time wise, that actually, it's funny because all the other times are either at 6 or 9 p.m. and 6 is too early for me with my normal work schedule, and 9 is kind of late for a work night.
Yeah.
But 8:15, that's kind of perfect.
I just, you know how Celebration does like little movie merch things?
Yes,
If they do something like that for Wake Up Dead Man, I'm doing it. I'm getting it.
absolutely. It is fun. I'll say I still have my Alien Romulus popcorn bucket.
Oh shit, you do?
Yeah,
That's
they're
so
good
cool.
buckets. They're useful.
Yeah, they're reusable. They fucking save the
They-
planet and you get like a cool little guy.
Yeah, they actually are. They're like a good sized popcorn bucket. Yeah.
Yeah. Fucking hell. Well, in that case,
With that,
I'm the infamous Orion, and I am fucking excited to wake up a dead man.
And I'm Cairo. And I hope I don't sound really different after the surgery. That would be really funny, but kind of awkward.
Don't die.